Okay, we will go over test cases one by one. So you may not know how these test cases work. So in the config section, we will just define the our GitLab CI YAML, and this init section is just when you just create the pipeline, and this is what happened. Pipeline is pending, and this is status of stages, and this is status of jobs. There is also transition section here. So it is just basically event and the expected behavior after the event. So let's go over this basic example. So we have this example here. There is build will fail here because we stated, I mean, it doesn't matter what it writes here, but we just stated here to explicitly say build will fail. Test depends on build, test needs it. Also, there is deploy, and deploy doesn't have anything specific. So when you first create the pipeline will be pending. Status of the build stage will pending. Test is created, deploy is created, jobs is the same. So first transition, first event, we drop the build. It means we failed the build job here. So when we fail this job, the stage of the build is failed. Stage of the status of the build job is failed, and test is skipped. Because test is skipped, deploy will also be skipped, and pipeline is failed. So is this correct behavior? Is it clear how it works, by the way?
Visualize it or something? I can't really run this program in my head.
Okay, then we can, yeah, we can do that.
Okay, that would help, I think.
I actually make this for the first example here. So I just copied this example to here and run the pipeline for it.
Cool.
And here's the pipeline. Let me go. Here's the result.
Okay, so it so the build, it failed, and it never tried to run, test, or deploy because because it failed and it needed something that didn't pass, and then deploy didn't run
because test is not found.
Huh?
Yeah, you are right.
The deploy didn't run based on the stage rule that if the build stage fails, then it doesn't continue.
Yes.
Okay, so this seems correct.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, this is the second example. I will copy and run first. You can see the flow while I'll do this.
Sure. Should we take bets as to what we think is going to happen?
Sorry?
Should we take bets as to what we think is going to happen when you click commit changes?
I hope so.
What's your guess as to what's going to happen?
I think this will going to happen at the end of the transitions.
Okay. So this has a build that fails. It has a test stage that passes. It has a deploy stage that needs test, and it yeah, this is what I would expect to. Build failed,
yeah.
Test and deploy don't continue.
Yeah, okay, then that's okay then.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, I'll go to the next example then.
All right, so then this one has a build stage that fails. It has a test stage that shouldn't run because it's just the subsequent stage, and it will follow the stage rule. And then it has a deploy stage that deploy job in the deploy stage that depends on test, and it's set to when always. So on this one, I would think config and deploy would run. We almost need like a survey though, you know?
How should it work?
Yeah. But I mean, I can at least give reasonable guesses.
These could make good Twitter polls.
Okay, yeah, this is actually what I would expect.
Mhm.
Yeah. That when is always test doesn't have when always, so it's yeah, this is exactly what I would expect here.
Okay, yeah, I mean, test is skipped, but deploy runs.
Yeah.
But I mean, what about maybe deploy needs test artifact? That's not our concern because it says when always.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's
So this
the
is
logic. Maybe we should write that down
Hmm.
as like a consideration that, and maybe this is the rule that needs processing. So we'll continue testing. We should continue testing. But if I was to
Okay.
formulate a rule right now, it would be needs informs the pipeline structure, but when can override it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
Okay, so this is correct behavior also.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
What do you think, Ritika? Is it too early days to have an opinion?
Should I
You
open?
can override it, so I thought maybe it's going to fail.
This is another example.
Okay. All right, and so this one has the build that passes and no needs or when. It has a second build that fails and no needs or when. It has a test in the test stage that I would expect not to run because it's following the stage rules. And then it has a deploy that needs build one and test. And this has no when always. So I would expect this one to not run.
Yeah. This is the actual bug. Yeah, this is the actual bug actually.
Yeah.
So it is running right now. So this is the bug and we should fix it.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Because it didn't be, and the difference is this doesn't have when always to say like, well, I'll run it anyway, even if my dependency is not there.
Okay, it should not run. I'm just commenting here to fix.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I will go to the next one.
Cool.
So it is just similar, but it just has when always.
I would expect this to be the exact same, but to run.
Let's see. Yeah, it runs.
It does run.
Should
yeah.
we? Yeah. Should we do that?
This is correct, though, because it has the when always there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Yeah, you were right, Furkan. This is the right way to do it. I didn't trust it because I didn't think I could. We didn't have this tool. I didn't know we had this tool where we could just run them and visualize them. And when I was reading these, Camille sent them to me also. I was like, I can't run these in my head. I just like get confused.
you get used to it while
yeah.
after reading so many YAML files. Okay, so this is correct behavior. So I'm removing the to do here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this still has that, the way we said that when can override the needs behavior as
Yes.
a simple thing that we could document.
Can we write something in the...
I think I can share the at the end. Or
okay, deploy runs. This is correct behavior. Yes,
sorry, what was this one? I was writing notes.
You are talking to me right now, or write it down?
Yeah, so sorry, I missed the last one because I was taking notes for the...
I'm just trying to this.
You're just doing setup, okay.
Okay.
So this one builds and fails. It has when always, needs build. So I would say both should run. The first will fail, the second will pass.
Yeah, so it is running actually.
Yeah.
So I am removing the comment here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will go to the next one. I will not try every one of them.
Sure. Yeah,
Let's try only complicated ones.
Sure.
Okay. So the next one.
Maybe I can run them in my head now that we've done a few. So build fails, test allows fail, but I wouldn't expect it to be, I still wouldn't expect test to run here because allow failure isn't set on build.
Yes, actually correct.
Yeah. And then so
I don't know
deploy
why
needs test and it shouldn't run also.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, this is correct behavior. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, correct.
it doesn't
It doesn't matter
change
that it's
anything.
there,
Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't matter here. Okay.
But still,
Okay,
it's
I
okay
will-
to test it.
Okay. So this one.
Yeah, so build fails, test needs build, so that's unique here. When on failure, okay, and on failure says only run it if the thing failed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I would expect config to run and fail, test to run and pass. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So build will fail, test runs.
Yeah.
Okay, because when overrides.
Because when overrides needs again.
Okay, that's okay. That's our rule. Okay.
Well, let's keep testing it. Maybe we'll find some exception. But I hope not.
Yes. Here are another example.
Okay, so this one builds and fails. Test runs on failure. I actually don't know what test will do in this case, but we're not testing anything related to needs here. So I think that test will run, but I actually don't know. And then deploy needs test. So if test runs, then I would expect deploy to run.
Yeah, test will run.
Test will run because it's on failure.
Yes.
Even though there's no relationship to the, yeah. Oh, I would have thought deploy would have ran here.
Let's see, maybe it just stuck temporarily. But yeah,
Okay,
it runs.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
And this is the bug. Maybe it's in running state, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's just because my local environment.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. It's failed.
But is that correct? If any job in a pipeline fails, then the status has failed.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's not allow failure true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Okay. So this is also correct behavior.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes. It's another one.
All right. So build, allow failure true and fails. Test needs build, runs on failure. Deploy needs test. I would expect all of this to run. The first will
Not
fail,
exactly.
the second two will pass, but they will all run.
First will fail, but it is allow failure true.
It's allow failure, yeah. So the pipeline should overall be passed.
But test and deploy will be skipped according to here.
Why?
Let's see.
I would just allow failure on failure. Is it because of the interaction between on failure and allow failure that you would expect it to run?
Let me think. Okay, so build is actually failed, but it is allow failure true.
Yeah.
So that's why total of this is actually success.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Then yeah, you're right. Then I would have expected this to happen. I would have. Yeah. I thought. Yeah.
So this will be skipped.
Correct. Yep.
Because when is overriding needs.
Exactly. Yep.
Deploy needs test. Test did not run. So deploy is also skipped.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will remove the comment here. Okay, we just look at this one.
Should we just skip to the ones that have comments?
Yeah, it had
If you
a
want.
comment. I just removed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is another example.
This is build succeeds, test is manual and is allowed to fail and does. Deploy succeeds and needs build and test. So I would expect this one to be only, it'll run build, it'll wait for you to press play on test, and deploy should not run. Then when you press play on test, it should pass, and then deploy should run.
This is our bug actually, because it just keep running. So
yeah,
it
so it shouldn't be running. It
Yes.
should say whatever our status is when it's waiting for a manual job here.
Yeah. Okay. So this is our bug. What should it be? I'm not sure.
Yeah, the pipeline should be. What are pipelines?
Should be blocked. I am just writing should be blocked.
Blocked or pending or whatever it normally would be.
Okay.
But it definitely shouldn't be running. Running implies like there's a job running.
Yes.
To me.
Yeah, this is our second bug.
Okay. And what happens when you press play? Does test then run and then deploy succeeds? Well, test will fail, but it allows failure, and then will deploy succeed.
Yeah, I hope. I mean,
I hope so.
let's see.
Yes. Okay, great. Then this is working as designed, except for the bug behavior there.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is actually, this is not same. Okay.
So this
it just behaves the same way, and it should also in running. So this should also be blocked.
Yeah. So let me think about it. So build runs.
The only difference is this needs. So it doesn't matter actually.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, let's skip this one then.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, this
Should
one.
we run test here? So build runs and succeeds.
Yes.
Test should not run because it's when on failure. So again, when overrides needs.
Done. Okay. Let's go to the next one.
Build passes, then test should not run, and then deploy needs test should also not run.
Correct behavior.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is quite complicated, but I think this is also correct behavior, but let's see.
Let's test this one just because it's longer. So build runs and succeeds, test runs and succeeds, except for release test. Well, that runs and succeeds also manually. Okay, we're just gonna have to do this one live. Review needs test and release test, staging needs test and release test, and production needs review. Yeah, okay. So I would expect it to be waiting for you at release test, and yeah, nothing else run. Oh, but why don't you have a manual? Maybe it's still ready.
I'm not sure. That's the refresh page.
This is also the same issue, though, that it should not be running right now. It should be the same bug, but yeah. The pipeline should be pending or whatever, like waiting for a manual job.
Correct.
And except for when you press play. Now press play and let's see what it does.
I think it will succeed.
I think it will succeed also. And yeah, and then we can just confirm. Why are there two transitions in this thing? Can you help me understand?
Sorry?
You have two events here, event success. In the transitions part of the YAML, you have...
Yes. I didn't write all of them. I just
You know
write
what it
some of
means
them.
though?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean?
Why are there two here? Do you
I
know?
mean, we don't have to write every transition. We just, I mean, we are just writing the one we need. So we just want to try only two transitions. We know what's the rest of them. Okay, eventually we need to write every transition, but we are just lazy. So.
Yeah, okay. No, it's okay. But I was just wondering what it means in the YAML syntax to have two elements in the transitions array.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can write all of them.
Okay. All right, let's move on. It did what we expected.
Yes, only this should be blocked, not
Yeah.
running state.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Which is the same bug.
Mm-hmm.
So this builds and succeeds, builds two and succeeds. Test only runs on failure, but so it shouldn't run. And then deploy needs build one and test. This is an interesting one that we haven't talked about before. It's where it's a mixed status. So it needs something that ran and it needs something that didn't run. So I think it should not run.
This can be the one of our bugs, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, so but it's kind of a bug. But also, what I would tell the person is, if you want it to run,
Deploy runs.
it should not have run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should not have run. It should have. You'd have had to put when always in here if you wanted it to run.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
only one half of the things it needs is available. So this should be, yeah, not running, not appending, whatever.
Actually, it belongs to here.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's actually no way to continue this one because you can't press play on the job that didn't, on the test job.
Yes. Okay, I will go to the next one. This has when always.
But it's the same?
So, yeah, it is exactly the same.
Yeah, then this one should do what it did.
Yeah, it just runs, so that's okay.
Yep.
Okay. That's also okay.
Succeed stage, deploy doesn't need anything. So build and deploy should run at the same time, and test should run after build finishes.
Yes.
But everything
in its initial state, the build is pending, deploy is pending, so this is correct behavior.
Yep.
Okay.
Test is created, yeah, and at the very end, or at the next transition, then yeah, it's correct.
Okay.
So stage, this has test and deploy. Test, allow failure true, and does fail. This deploy needs test. Both should run because allow failure is true on test, and so it counts as success.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Okay, test and deploy. So test is manual and failure is not allowed, but it succeeds anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then deploy. So test should be manual and deploy should be created. And then once you run test, then deploy should run.
Yes, this is also correct behavior.
Okay. Test is manual and allow failure false is true, or allow failure is false, and it does fail. Then deploy needs test, always runs anyway. So there's a lot of stuff that doesn't matter in this example, but test should be manual and deploy should be pending or not running. It should be created, I guess is the correct. Then when you press play on test, it should run and fail but count as success, and then deploy should run always.
No, it's not count as success.
Oh, okay, you're right. So the test should run and fail and be counted as a failure, but then deploy should run anyway because it has when
Yes.
always.
Okay. Now we'll go to the next one.
Which is the same except for changing.
When on failure, so it runs again.
It runs again, yeah, yep.
Okay. This one.
So test one runs and succeeds. Test two is manual, does not allow failure but fails. Deploy needs both. Test one should run automatically. Test two should be pending until you press play. Deploy should just be waiting also. Then when you press play on test two and it fails, deploy should not run.
Yeah, it is blocked, so this is correct behavior.
It's funny that it's showing blocked here for this case instead of running.
I don't know actually why.
Yeah, this is correct though.
Yeah.
And then when you press play, deploy should not run.
I think so.
Let's double check. Because it says, well, I'm not sure if I'm reading it correctly, but it looks like it's saying, okay, so it didn't run deploy. But the test says deploy is create. Oh, it's created though, not like pending. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting the statuses confused. Yep, it did the right thing.
Okay.
Test is manual and failure is allowed, and it does. Deploy needs test. So deploy should be created. Test should be waiting for you to press play. Once you press play, deploy should run.
Correct. And when we fail the test, deploy should not. Okay, deploy should run because it's allow failure.
So yeah, it should just continue. So you should run deploy here. Yes, is the answer to the question.
This is different from the state. So if this is the case, deploy will just run without waiting test.
Without waiting for test?
Yes.
Okay. In this case, it should wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just difference between DAG and the stage processing.
Yeah. So this is another rule that's the difference. That like, so the rule is something like, if needs is set, or if a job needs another job, it should always wait for it, even if it might otherwise be skipped. And the reason you would do that is because you might get artifacts from it.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Jason, I'm making notes in a document, so if you want, you can skip doing that.
Okay. I like doing it.
Okay.
I'll paste the notes in this chat here too.
Yeah, I also shared the document link.
Okay. Yeah, let's do some more. So test when manual allow failure true, and it does. So that should be play, and then it should be pending and created, or
I think this is
it
the
should be
same
manual
example.
and created. Manual and created.
Yeah, this is the same example actually. So yeah, it's the same, just difference between we have always here, but it doesn't matter.
Right, because it's going to run it anyway.
Yes, okay, then I will just remove this. I mean, I added this example because maybe we want deploy is run without waiting test, but we just name a rule for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
The only difference is when on failure, so it will be skipped.
It will be skipped, yeah, because it didn't. It counted as success.
Yes, correct. Another example here.
So test is test runs and succeeds. Test 2 is manual, fails but counts as success. Deploy needs both. Everything in the end will run here. You'll
This
have 3
can be
successes.
another bug.
Now let's try it. So far, so good. Okay. Now play the test 2. Oh, well, yeah, that's the same bug. It should be blocked. But then when you press play on test 2, I would suspect that everything finishes successfully.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, all of our bug examples are completed right now. We have stage builds, but I think we don't have to go over them.
Cool. This worked really well.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody in the issue would probably agree with these examples. I don't know how to effectively communicate to them, except to say maybe like we can paste in these 2 rules that we identified and say, does anybody disagree with these? So the first one is here, and the second one, at least as I wrote them down, is here. So the first is, I wish like the when keyword overrides the needs keyword behavior. So when always can make a job run always, even if what it needs fails, is missing, whatever. But if a job needs another job, it should always at least try to wait for it. It shouldn't optimistically skip it and just start anyway, because you might be getting artifacts from it. And also, I guess the third rule is like a pipeline that has no jobs actively running should not be in the running state. And like waiting, a needs job that's waiting for another thing to eventually run does not count as running. Yeah, so those are the 3 rules that I think we gathered here that help us solve all of these issues and are consistent and are actually simple and can be documented. What I was really worried is like we would look at each one of these use cases and we would think like, oh yeah, you know, like, well, for this example, you'd want it to work this way. For this example, you'd want it to work another way. And like, there would be no consistent rules, but these are actually pretty
I was
good.
also expected that. But it didn't happen. I'm not.
Yeah.
I just surprised.
Okay. And Furkan, you've been involved a lot more in all the discussions and everything. Do you think, based on what you know, that this is like ultimately what everybody was looking for?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool. Cool. So then what I will do is in that issue, or both issues actually, I'll just comment these 3 findings and I'll say we're going to solve these bugs with these 3 rules in mind. So if anybody has any disagreement, just let us know.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool. I'll do that right now. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you.